Hello, everybody. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, the podcast where we talk about pop culture, things that interest us. And sometimes there's whiskey. My name is John. I'm joined as always by Andrea. How's it going?
Good. Just happy to be here. Happy we could make the space and time for a show.
Yeah. Yes, me as well. It's good. It's gonna liven me up, perk me up, because we're gonna be talking about Batman Forever. I'll be as perky as Batsuit nipples. I'm the yeah.
I mean, this sadly isn't the movie that really showcases the nipples because I mean that's really Batman and Robin, which I also watched because I just couldn't help myself. This movie is a butt movie. There are so many butt shots of the Batsuit
Okay.
and Robin's butt and Dr. Chase Meridian's butt. Like, I mean, yeah, I couldn't stop seeing it all over the place.
That's fair. I do think it was a little unfair how Batman and Robin had to take such heat for the nipplage when really it did start here of the first Batsuit.
It did.
In the beginning of the movie, I used to think revisionist history in my mind that even though it was the later Batsuit in the film, the revision, the prototype that had
with the sonar modifications.
That's right. But no, first one straight away. I think people just, I don't know, they're looking for other things to dunk on Batman and Robin. So
it's an easy movie to dunk on. Let's be real.
Okay, well, you're all going to find out if we're going to dunk on Batman Forever or not. But we got to talk about it because this month is its 30th anniversary. We celebrate its 30th anniversary. Crazy. I
feel so old.
I think I saw this one in the theaters. So, yeah.
Okay.
Because I was 7.
Yeah, I was going to say you were young. Are you sure you didn't see a re-release?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I mean, it's totally possible. I was just checking.
Because I went to Jurassic Park in the theaters too when I was 5 then. So
I love our parents' generation. They just didn't care. I was watching Alien by the time I was 8 years old and just having the bejesus scared out of me, or Predator, just watching people's guts fall out by 8 or 9 years old. And here you are seeing Jurassic Park and Batman Forever. I mean, not as gory, but definitely not 5 and 7 year old kind of movies.
Yeah. I guess that's an interesting discussion, because that was certainly a topic at the time. They wanted to lighten up Burton's vision with Batman Returns. It freaked people out and hey, it's supposed to be for kids. And so that's where we got Batman Forever. But I don't know what age it would be appropriate. I feel like 7's good. I feel like 7's good for this. There's plenty of innuendo, but you don't really understand.
Yeah. As a kid, you don't get it, for sure. There's so many things I watched as a kid that I watched as an adult. I was like, I did not pick up on this.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I knew it was something, but you don't know what it is. You're like, that's like a joke, but I don't know what it means. So you get that there's something there, but you can't connect the dots because you don't have the context. But yeah.
Well, I remember my sister and I repeating the line all the time: a flock of freaking, we'd say
a flock of freaking
Floyds, but we'd say Floyds. I think we didn't know we had no idea he meant Freud, the psychiatrist. So philosopher. Would you consider him a philosopher? I mean, a lot of his
no, more like theorist. You know what I mean? Because he put forth his theory of the id, the ego, the super ego. So yeah, I would say that's more of psychological theory than philosophy.
Sure. Okay. Well, anyways, yes. We're gonna get into that Batman Forever, but before all that, I've definitely been watching some things. It's been a little while since we've had a show,
Yes.
so we'll talk
Yeah,
about
you have been
go through some of those
busy.
things. And then it's been a big week in gaming. Pre-show, we mentioned a couple gaming things. If we have time, maybe I'll broach those subjects. But before all that fun stuff, we got to talk about our drink holidays.
Yes. Yeah, we got to close out the month of May because dang it if we aren't already like a third of the way into June. So yeah, rolling it back to May 25th, it was World Wine Day. Pick a white, pick a red, pick a rosé. Just have a wine any time of day on May 25th.
Okay.
Otherwise, we have something that rolls around once a year that I decided to celebrate. And that was on May 30th, Mint Julep Day. I weirdly had all the ingredients for a mint julep, which is actually much simpler than I remembered, but I had all of them around my house. So I was like, yes, do it. I don't think I've done it
did
on the
that as
show.
well.
No
Oh,
way.
not tonight. Sorry, not tonight. I did it on the
Okay.
day.
Okay. I was like, oh, that's so cool. But good for you.
Dang it. I should have made it now.
It is kind of weird. Like it's stuff that isn't that hard to have, but I just like never seem to have it all at the same time. Like I have 2 out of the 3, you know?
My thing is the crushed ice. I feel like the crushed ice
Oh,
is recommended and necessary. And so like I put the kids to bed and then I don't want to be like bang, bang,
yeah.
breaking
Sure.
a bunch of ice. I don't have
Sure. Our
some.
yeah, I was gonna say our new fridge does have a crushed ice setting, so I used that.
Nice. All
Yep.
right. Cool.
But yeah, cheers to mint juleps on the 30th, as is proper, or today, as I am, celebrating 10 days late. Yeah, otherwise, moving into June, it was Cognac Day on June 4th, followed immediately by Moonshine Day on the 5th.
Okay.
You
Interesting.
got any of those, John?
I don't. I looked at this list and I'm like, unless I'm crushing
Weird
ice,
list.
I had one, I'm not opening a bottle of wine. I don't even know if I have any wine right now. I never have cognac on hand.
Yeah.
I could have some other sort of brandy. I probably have something like that.
Sure.
And I don't really have moonshine either, I don't think.
I don't, except that I found this little dude that my parents brought me back from Tennessee, like all super long time ago. But this little one is still kicking around. This little peppermint moonshine. Still
I feel
kicking.
I feel like I wanted that screen grab of you there. It just looks like you're trying to sell me some sort of snake oil, some sort of pills, something. Rub this tonic on your face and, yeah.
Oh man.
No, I'm kind of it's sort of weird tonight. Fits the movie. I have here because I didn't get the chance today. Every day I have a glass of water that has collagen, creatine, and an LMNT in it. That's what this is. So it's like hydration, some supplements. That's what I used to put the collagen and creatine in my coffee, but it changes the taste of it. I don't like it. So we're going with this. And because this LMNT is it's called citrus salt. That's quite margarita-ish. I have tequila that I'm going to drink along with it. So
excellent.
Yeah, I could just mix it in there, but I'm like, I don't know what I don't know. I'll see if I,
risk.
If I'm drinking both, because I need to drink this. I'm not gonna put the tequila in and then it's all garbage and whatever.
Sure.
So, yeah. Yep.
Well,
that's my interesting thing.
Cheers.
It's a Corona.
Tequila.
Okay. Now I don't do chasers really. No, my bit. Well, that works. So I don't know. probably be good. Probably good mixed in. Oh, and our Technical director Alan says, I have Eagle Rare. All right. So he's pulling in the
Excellent.
whiskey for us. Well, I guess you are too. What kind of whiskey you got? What kind of whiskey do you
Bullet
have?
bourbon.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Nice. All right. Very good. Drinks underway. What have you been watching? Reading,
Not
listening
much.
to, playing? No.
Not much, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, I've been solo parenting for a little bit here. Just Chris has been back and forth between, taking kids to National History Day, and some awards that they have won in relation to National History Day work. So I've been a little busy. And then I've also had some like work conferences and things going on. So the only things I've really kind of managed to sneak in are I watched Last of Us season 2, episode 5 and 6. There I was thinking I was going to watch 7 and 8, as like a pair also, and then I learned there's only 7. So really, truly, John,
Oh.
there are no laws anymore about what a season is.
Yep.
I mean, it's just
Right.
nothing. It's nothing.
We need some time to regulate. Let's get in here and
7, 8,
set
9,
some
10, 11.
boundaries. Yeah.
I don't know anything anymore. Um so apparently I've watched, 5 and the penultimate 6, and now just need to move on to 7. Um this was kind of the first time I maybe saw a little bit of disjointedness or kind of like a dip in some quality of season 2. I've been really enjoying season 2, and I know that there have been some kind of like complaints about the direction that Ellie, the main character, is going. And this was kind of the first time where I thought, I see a little bit of that. Even though, again, I'm not coming from a perspective of I've played the game, so like, how dare they, switch this from the game? But yeah, it's still really good. I think really good storytelling. Um, and a small spoiler, if anybody is devastated over season 2 events, a beloved character returns in some flashbacks in episode 6, and it was lovely to see them on screen again. So
Okay.
I won't go full spoilers because
Sure.
even though that's been publicized, it might be a thing for somebody. But yeah,
Sure.
that
All right.
part was lovely.
I
So yeah,
haven't
a little mixed
been here.
feelings about 5 and 6.
Okay. Well, I'll see if 7 ends up sticking the landing for you, bringing it back.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting because I think Last of Us is already greenlit for season 3 and possibly just got greenlit for a season 4.
Okay.
I think the showrunner just announced that he thought he could wrap it up in 4, and he had gotten the green light for that. So
Okay.
yeah, interesting. And then really I've just watched Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Okay. It's bold of you to watch. I mean, I watched Batman and Robin holiday season. That's a Christmas
It
movie.
is. It is. I totally feel that, but I just was like, man, there were a couple of things I couldn't remember if they reference in Batman and Robin, like they reference Batman Forever at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
because obviously, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't watched Batman Forever, um, uh, Batman ends up with his primary love interest in the movie. Like they insinuate at the end that they're still together. And I couldn't remember if Batman and Robin like referenced their breakup or not, or because Batman is clearly not with her in Batman and Robin.
Right.
So I couldn't remember if they said anything or like just even did like a throwaway line about
They
it.
do, don't they?
They do in like a very obscure like reference to the doctor, but it's not like super direct. It's not like Dr. Chase Meridian is no longer here with us.
Right.
But yeah, I just couldn't
Yeah.
remember what they do
Because it
about
was
that.
really Batman Forever that didn't reference the previous relationships. Because in Batman
It did.
Returns, did he?
Yeah, I mean, she talks like right away about like, hey, I know you like strong women, or do I need skin tight vinyl and a whip?
Oh, yeah.
So they do one of those in
Okay.
Batman and Robin where they like reference the doctor. So
Mhm.
they all do very like I think subtle call outs to each other. They don't say anything direct.
Which is interesting because Dr. Chase Meridian is not subtle.
No, not by any means. But hey, she's done her homework. She knows what Batman
That's
likes,
right. Yep.
and it's not subtlety.
Nope. Okay, well, that's good. I guess also watched Batman Forever, of course, but I wrapped up a few things as well. White Lotus
Yeah.
season 2, I finished that. Very good. I really wanted to see that season in particular again because of the Bond candidate that's in there.
Yeah.
It was it's a show that definitely keeps you guessing throughout, who's
Mhm.
gonna do what. And so yeah, high marks. And then at the end there was a little interview by the creator. I'm like, why do I know this man? And he plays like Dewey, someone from House School of Rock.
Dewey Finn?
That doesn't sound right. He's like a teacher or
Oh, yeah, it's his roommate. It's his roommate.
is it? I haven't
Yeah,
seen that in
Jack
so
Black's
long,
roommate.
but I immediately recognized him. So
Okay.
yeah. Anyways, I had no idea he made the show, and it's very impressive. And then we started season 3, and then some largely a new cast of characters and a new place and all
Mhm.
that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
it's off to a good start. I would say I was more drawn in immediately from in season 2 than I was in season 3. But I like that each one, the creator kind of talked about tackling different elements of, human existence. So season 1 was about money. Season 2
Mhm.
was like about sex and relationships. And then season
Mhm.
3 is about like spiritualism and religion
Mhm.
and sort of thing. So,
Oh,
oh, hey,
hello.
poppers. So I kind of like that idea a little bit. And then MobLand, I finished MobLand. So there was 2
Ooh,
episodes there, 10
did it
episodes
hold its
total.
quality?
It did. Yep, all the way through. I don't think there was a single episode that was a dud or even really lacking. Um it just built an intensity, like what's going to happen here, how are they going to get out of this, who's going to betray who,
Mhm.
quality all the way. And it was hard to see Pierce Brosnan at times be this character, but he did a very good job. And yeah, I definitely ready for. I'll be excited for whenever season 2 happens. Hits. So,
Excellent.
Wick is Pain documentary.
I saw that. I saw that, and
Yeah,
I didn't see it. Like I didn't watch it, but I saw that available, and I was about to click on it.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm interested in the I'm interested in how movies are made, so I was like behind the scenes sort of things. But then, I get sort of a breakdown of the creator and how they came into and the stunt work they'd done before. And I kind of didn't realize how prolific they were in the
Mm.
stunt world and like kind of the connections they had and all that sort of thing. So that was fun. And then just some of the training and how difficult it was to get things made, and then how they were talking about, you know, Keanu Reeves was like in question of whether he's like an action star and relevant and people will see him and all. So at the time, this is before. I mean,
Oh,
John Wick
oh, oh! I see. I
largely
see.
is what brought Keanu Reeves really back into the forefront, in
Yeah.
the limelight like this,
A little
and so
Keanu
all that stuff.
renaissance.
Yeah, that was all very interesting. And then I also learned why I liked the first John Wick movie the most. because the first one is directed by two people, but they worked together for years, but they did not direct together well. And they had different types of films they kind of envisioned it as. And the guy that left and was no longer part of it after one was the one that wanted things more grounded. He wanted the more realistic approach, whereas Chad, who stuck around and kept doing them, was like, no, I love anime and the over the top nature of everything. So that's how it keeps spiraling and getting more and more zany as it goes.
Sure.
Very intentional and very not, like, it's starting going the opposite direction of what I prefer. So in this case, but yeah, fun,
It's like
fun
Fast
watch.
and Furious. There's a point where you're just like, I can't. I mean, Fast and Furious like eventually leaned into it, and its ridiculousness became like a feature, and they were almost like in on the joke. But I mean, how many movies are there? It took a lot for like them to bridge the gap between, you know, it just being ridiculous and them like playing with like, aren't we ridiculous?
Yeah. Right. Yep. And on that same note, I saw Ballerina.
How was
wanted
it?
to, you know, that's like, I wanted to go to something that wasn't supposed to be super long. I misunderstood the time. I'm not sure how long it was, but it wasn't super long. And brought some friends from the gym because it felt relevant. And it was okay. It was okay. I was like kind of in line again with the later John Wick movies. The fight scenes generally aren't as enthralling as previous Wick entries are. I think they did a pretty valiant job of creating a reasonable story to tell with this,
Sure.
and trying to make you care and all that sort of thing. But yeah, just okay. Like, had some cool elements, some fun stuff with grenades. You have to treat it sort of like the other the later Wick movies. Like, it's just, you're there to see some fun stunts, ideas thrown at the screen. And they have some fun stuff with flamethrowers. So it was okay. It was okay.
Have you, I mean, I know you've seen Black Widow. Have you seen Red Sparrow with Jennifer Lawrence? And it's like a, you know, it's...
Oh, no, I have not.
Okay. I know like this one got a lot of like, it's, you know, kind of one of these three movies that are a little bit similar to each other. So, you know, we could compare these to, you know, Jennifer Lawrence's performance, or like, you know, Scarlett Johansson's performance in Black Widow. It's you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of this like,
yeah,
you know, Russian asset kind of like trained up seductress. Yeah. So like, you know what I mean? There's just like kind of like some hallmarks of those. So I was just wondering if you'd seen and could speak to that, but
yeah,
if you can't, you can't.
It would be interesting to find you know, for them to go the route of like the female spy assassin and have one of them really stick and work, because they keep trying it in different iterations. The one director that left Wick actually, I think, went to do a Charlize Theron one. It's Blonde something, Atomic Blonde.
Oh, Atomic Blonde. Yep.
So, but none of these are like created franchises, you know. And I mean, Black Widow, I thought that movie was pretty underwhelming.
Yeah. I liked Black Widow, except it was just it didn't make sense was the problem. It came at the wrong time.
It would have been nice to have before certain events happened in the MCU, for sure. Yeah.
Because it didn't make sense. But I thought the movie itself, I actually really liked it. I just, you know, it just bothered me that like certain things were just sort of treated as if they didn't happen, or they acted like things could happen when you're like, no, I already know the ending of this. So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it was like for me, it was cool as an introduction to Yolana. You
Yeah.
know, I thought she was like, oh, okay, I can get on board with seeing more of this character, that sort of thing.
All of her
But
family really were fun.
yeah, I didn't like that they went so heavy in making Red Guardian a joke, and I'm guessing if I watch now Thunderbolts, some of that will be corrected. You know, I'm guessing,
Mm.
but I haven't gotten there yet. So
I haven't either. I meant to.
yeah, I don't know. This was it's I nothing against Anna de Armas. I think she's great. You know, she's Bond girl in the last Bond movie, and she does an excellent job in there. There's very different characters than this, but yeah, they didn't do enough to separate
Blade
like
Runner 49?
2049,
Right. 2049, yeah. I liked her in
yep,
that a lot.
Knives Out. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
Knives Out was
she's
good.
good in everything. But yeah, they don't do the seductress angle with her at all, and they don't do
Okay.
enough to like make her feel like um a female assassin. You know, like they have this kind of
Mm.
line in there and stuff, you know, like fight like a girl. The idea is like changing the rules. They kind of have this thing where it's not really a spoiler. She's like training with other people, basically doing some sort of judo match, you know, and keeps getting pitted against men or whatever for the training and failing. And the instructor's like, basically says, you have to just cheat. You're always going to be smaller. You're always going to be weaker. Bend, you know, make your own rules. And so, you know, basically she goes and just kicks him in the balls and he's like, gouge eyes and whatever, you know, like you don't play by the rules to win in this situation. But I felt like they had too many fights where they could have done something else to make her unique. Like if in John Wick 4, there's a character, and I thought she would be the perfect one to make a spin-off of. It's the
Mhm.
daughter of a Japanese man in there, and she lives and she has this cool knife style. She's like goes around their legs and like stab them a million times. She's like really quick and nimble. It's
Sounds
like,
like
oh,
my kind of girl, just knifing
yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
Stabby.
So
That's how I
I don't
play my
know.
video games, all stabby stabby.
I think the Wick stuff is played out myself. I just
Sure.
like I love the up the ante on stunts and keeping going with that. It's just we need to go back to putting those stunts in, you know, not less framing movies around stunt ideas than having a movie around story ideas. And not that this, you know, I've been told that that's what Hitchcock would do. He'd have like scenes in his head, things he wants to shoot, and then build things around that. Build the movie to be able to shoot those things he wants to. You know, so that's whatever. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
that's been my stuff.
I think you can do stuff that way. I mean, you just it just matters if it's quality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that if you can produce a quality story.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, who am I to
Yeah.
say anything about anybody's creative process as long as it works? If it
Yeah.
doesn't
Oh
work
yeah.
though, then you have to stop doing it.
Yep. Yeah. This is a movie that could have benefited from some, you know, I don't know, self control. Like it should have been shorter. It didn't need to be so
Sure.
long. It didn't need to
Sure.
have stuff be quite so over the top. Didn't,
Sure.
you know, it just it's trying to do too much in one thing, you know, and yeah, I guess I won't say more without spoilers about it, but you know, there's if for those that have seen John Wick 4, there's a stair sequence that they're proud of, but it's way too long. It's just too long,
Mhm.
guys. So you
Sure.
need someone else in here to say this is gratuitous at this point. We're not increasing the benefit out of this. You're wasting people's time.
Sure.
So yeah. That's that. That's been my week. That's been
Sorry, it's
ballerina.
disappointing.
No, yeah, it was a fun time out, you know, and
Sure.
yeah.
But you always hope like the movie's gonna be good. And
Yeah, if I
it's
leave,
disappointing when yeah. It's disappointing when it doesn't quite match up.
You know what I did get? Show and tell. So at the theater I went to, they had a Mission Impossible popcorn bucket.
Oh, there
So
we
it's got
go.
scenes from every one.
Yes.
1,
Little
2,
stunt scenes. I
3,
love
yeah,
it.
4,
Oh, the climbing.
5,
So classic. I love that.
6,
Yes.
7,
Yes.
and 8.
Dig it.
So
That's fun.
pretty nice, you know? Pretty nice bucket.
Octagon popcorn bucket. I love it.
Yeah. So even though I didn't get to see the movie, I got the bucket.
I like it. Too bad they don't show my favorite Mission Possible stunt, if you will,
What's
or
that?
my favorite bit of physicality. Dude, when he's in 5 and he climbs the pole that he's like being handcuffed on,
Oh,
and he
yes.
just, good God. I mean, the sheer arm strength, I'll never get over that.
See, it's the simple things. Like that was hard to do, but what does that take other than Tom Cruise and the camera, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
just in stationary, it's like, oh yes, that's great. It doesn't need to
Yep.
go so crazy, you
Yep.
know?
Yep. No, that's still one of my favorite, like most impressive ones. I do love the climbing outside that building in 4.
The Burj
That's
Khalifa, yeah. Mm-hmm.
right. That's still cool, but yeah, no, that was
Mm-hmm.
that honestly is still the one I'm most impressed by is in 5. Cuz that's hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's in 5. It's in Rogue Nation. I think that's my favorite one, maybe, of the series. And there's
Pretty
just
high.
a chase that goes on, but is so good. It's so thrilling.
Yeah, oh
And
yeah.
then they kind of do that sort of thing in the next one, but it feels too samey then at that point. It's not as good. So, like,
Can't repeat
there's a
yourself
whole
like that.
sequence. Yeah, there's a whole sequence where Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt, he basically is revived, so he's a little delirious. Gets in the car, he's doing this chase. He starts coming to clearing up and stuff, but he's doing this BMW chase or whatever. Ends up like messing that up. Gets out, gets on a motorcycle, and does a motorcycle chase, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are fantastic, maybe, and I'm definitely going to bring up another spy genre thing here. This was a big week in gaming, and I just want to talk about it a little bit. There was PlayStation State of Play. The Nintendo Switch 2 came out on Thursday, I believe it was. Summer Games Fest had its first event on Friday, and then the Xbox event, followed by a specific Outer Worlds 2 showcase, was on Sunday. So that's quite a bit of stuff.
It's a lot. Happy June.
Yeah. Did you get to absorb any of this stuff? Was any of this stuff show up on your radar? Any of the gaming news?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Switch 2 launch, I think I'd have to be living under a rock to not know that.
Sure.
And I knew that Summer Game Fest had launched, but just didn't get to see anything.
Okay. Well, I have one thing from Summer Game Fest that you're going to be very excited for. And that will be Resident Evil 9 was announced.
Yes.
So, yeah. I think it's.
I mean, I'm cool. I'm cool. Whatever. If they want to do another whatever.
Yeah. Yes. I think it's called Resident Evil Requiem.
Ooh.
I think they just did a cinematic trailer. It looks cool.
I can't wait to watch it.
Taking over the protagonist is the daughter of a woman from Resident Evil Outbreak. So new playable character. I don't think it's been anything else. And
hello. Yes.
I really
Resident
don't know
Evil
much
Requiem.
about it.
Released on February 27, 2026.
Grace Ashcroft.
Single player.
Your name.
Yeah, single player. Chilling return to true survival horror. slower, darker, more psychological gameplay.
So I think it'll be more like 2,
Ooh,
you know.
Leon will be back for Res Evil 9.
Okay, see, people have been talking about that, but I hadn't seen anything.
Yeah, they said
Like,
it's not necessarily in this first trailer, but he's going to be in it.
okay. So I wonder if there'll be like split protagonists. You go,
Totally could be.
yeah. But basically, I now have a time frame to finish RE4 remake. If I want to do a DLC on Village, I know when I had to be done by. So, yeah. And some of these things, like if you ever want to
Cool.
like go through them specifically on
Oh,
stream, we can do a little short
yeah,
thing like that. We have time
absolutely.
sometime.
Oh, I'm
Um,
so excited.
so to me, that was the big thing at Summer Game Fest. And then at the Xbox event, I don't know, there's just a lot of games coming there. And I think Outer Worlds 2 actually does look really good. They've really upped the visual fidelity and some of that from the first one. As I said,
Okay.
they have more time and more money now to do it. I did like the first one a lot. So that's exciting. They unveiled their partnership handheld system, their Xbox
Oh,
handheld. This had leaked a while ago,
yeah.
but I think recent news came out that Microsoft was putting on hold their own Xbox handheld, and I'm wondering if they're seeing we don't need to make our own. We're just going to partner with people like this. We'll make the software interface, and that's all great. We don't need to invest the RNG into making the device ourselves and some of that. So
Sure.
it's an Asus ROG Ally Xbox handheld device, and I'm sure it'll be quite expensive. There's 2 models, and the catch with this thing is it's running a version of Windows, and so basically you have access to the Xbox Store and Game Pass, so your Xbox catalog of games and games on Game Pass, but you
Mm-hmm.
also have access to Steam and Epic Game Store and Blizzard launcher or whatever. So the whole idea is like, hey, you can buy this handheld, and this will be the first fully done handheld where you can play Sony's Spider-Man on it, because you can, and people will come that have their Steam library that's really big. So, people are going to have fun playing God of War on their Xbox
Mm-hmm.
handheld, um, as like a what world are we living in kind of thing. But yeah, we'll see. And then Sony's event, I enjoyed quite a bit, but I have to talk about the one big thing that I really cared about it, and that's the new James Bond video game. So we
Yeah.
knew that IO Interactive, the makers of Hitman, were working on a Bond game and been waiting a
Mm-hmm.
couple days earlier. They're like, oh, stay tuned this week for a reveal. And now we finally got it. And if you haven't watched this trailer, you should. And I think I would like to go through this on stream with you and
Sure.
Lance, kind of frame by frame sort of thing or whatever. But
Let's do it.
because I know Lance is big in the Bond games as well, so
Yes, he is.
it's a next year release, and it really feels like this isn't just some other Bond game. It's not like just a movie tie-in or something. This feels like its own relaunch of the franchise. And I just think this is
Mm.
the right move. A lot of people are, they're saying for younger audiences, gaming is where it's at. It's not so much
Sure.
movies. This is, take this seriously, and they put this thing together like a really great James Bond movie trailer. If you replace
Sure.
all this stuff with live action, real people, um,
Sure.
I think it would. I think it would sell. We're looking at a little bit younger Bond. We're exploring
Yep.
his beginnings in the
See that.
like Royal Navy, and I don't know how long things, how long a period of time this game takes place over, but IO Interactive said if goes well, they have a trilogy planned. They want to do a trilogy, and
Interesting.
so as far as I am concerned, we have a new James Bond. He's the star of this game. He is an Irish actor. He plays young Dexter. That's his other known role. The serial killer Dexter in the TV show, but there's
Yeah.
a younger
Yeah.
version. This is the
Uh-huh.
actor for that.
Okay.
So he can act, and he's playing someone that's late 20s or something like that in this game, and man, I'm down. They hit all the notes. They hit all the notes in this trailer, and if we can find the time, we should do a frame by frame. I'd like to hear your thoughts. So,
Sure, absolutely.
but very pumped, super stoked. Let's go.
Huh.
Your expressions. I don't know. Are you scrubbing through, kind of watching it?
I mean, no, I was just reading insider. We're getting, info that like this is going to happen or whatever. And I think I'm just like seeing an odd screenshot of his face. There we go. Okay, that doesn't look as weird. There was just like I think a bad screenshot of Bond's face where it just I don't know, like I was like that's not what I imagine. Do you know what I mean? Like it just was
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like a
yeah. Oh
weird.
yeah.
So I was
Here, Alan
just
put us
a
in the
little
chat. Patrick Gibson. That's
Patrick
a
Gibson.
good. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I.
Yeah, there's like a shot of like Bond smirking and it was just like his face looked very odd.
Mm.
So I was just sort of like, why does this look so weird? But
Oh, he was in Shadow and Bone. I don't remember that. It says Shadow and the Bone on the thing there.
it does.
Who's he in that? Probably someone pining after.
Is he the prince in Shadow and Bone?
Oh, is he? Nikolai Landstov.
Yes. Yes. He's
Really?
like the legit prince dude. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Who like
He's
comes in at
handsome
the
in
end of the
that.
second season. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. See, that's our James
funny.
Bond. That's who it is.
I dig it. I dig it. He is very charismatic.
Yeah. I'm seeing the screenshots now of him. So now, yeah, I see it now. And again, they make him look a little younger. I think in early parts of this, I think you're probably going to play his very beginnings, and maybe then a couple years passes or something. I don't know.
Sure.
Because he seems different ages in the trailer. And
yeah, that's something that from the screenshots I was like, interesting.
mm-hmm. And yeah, I don't know. I just there's this thing like it's hard. I think it's most of the time it's hard to accept a new Bond or like a new Doctor anytime it just shows up before you get to see it. Everybody's quick to jump to because it's different. Jump to conclusions, and until Daniel Craig is like the hallmark of this. A lot of people are like, whether he's not handsome enough or obviously he's blonde or whatever the case is, and then Casino came out and people loved it. Like, man, great. So
I have no problem admitting I was troubled at the idea of a blonde Bond. I was straight up, and he crushed it. But yeah, no, I was very concerned. So it is hard not to judge on your preconceived notion of a look of a character. And it really comes down to performance. Like some people just perform well enough that you can get past it, and some people don't.
Yep. It's very interesting because there's definitely a maturity to the role the actor brings to Shadow and Bone, actually, that gives me confidence for them moving forward, as if they
Sure.
skip ahead sometime in the further Bond games and some of that. So yes. Okay, that's the week's gaming stuff, or the few bits of it I cared
Good
about.
stuff.
So,
Good stuff.
yeah. Other things I care about very much: Batman Forever. I'm wearing a Batman Forever shirt,
Love it.
and I have here on my desk. I have a lot of Batmobiles actually on my desk, but
I love how you
two.
say that like I would be surprised.
Yeah, can you imagine that?
Can you
I
believe
would have,
it?
yeah. So two different versions of like Hot Wheels from Batman Forever. I'm just doing this thing
Love
where
it.
I'm collecting all Batmobiles now that are like little Hot Wheels and Matchboxes or whatever.
I love it.
As long as
Which
I
one's your
don't think they're
favorite?
stupid. Oh my God, Andrea. Okay, so I actually really like this one,
Ooh.
which is the animated series, but in purple.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So
fun. I love that.
mm,
There it is. There it is. Don't move.
yeah,
Perfect. Oh, I love it.
so that's good. And then it's really nice. I don't know which color I preferred, and I have it in two colors, but I actually really like something about the Batman and
There it
Robin
is.
one. I have that in two colors. So yeah,
Oh God.
I mean,
I hate the Batman and Robin Batmobile.
really? Oh no.
Yes. Because it's open. It's so weird. It's not
Yes,
even a car.
it is weird. It is weird.
It's like, why is Batman just like exposed to the elements? I don't understand. Like, part of the coolness of Batman is him like popping out the car.
To me, it is really difficult to beat like 89 and Returns, Batmobile,
Yeah.
and the animated series. Like those
Oh,
two
animated
are
series.
really,
Oof.
really good. But I also very much like the Batman Forever one. I love that it
Yep.
kind of made like a rib cage in it and some of that.
Yep.
That's really great. And then I like the practical elements of the one in the Batman. So I
Yeah.
can like a variety of them. What I don't like, and I only bought it because I like the film, is the tumbler. Now this is a camouflage version of the
Yes.
tumbler, but
Yep.
that is not a Batmobile to me. Never got on board with that idea.
Yeah.
Don't like it at all. So
Yeah, it's one of those things where like practicality went too far. It certainly is the most realistic vehicle, obviously, but
well,
it's
if you're gonna
but
take
it's
some
not
sort of
but it's not the Batmobile. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it is what I'm trying to say, like, for what Batman needs his car to do sometimes, and for what
yeah,
the vibe of those films were, it's
yes,
very realistic. It's just
some
not a Batmobile.
utilitarian, yeah,
Yeah. His
mhm.
his motorcycle is way cooler. Like,
Yeah. The more yes,
I love the
that's
motorcycle
cool.
from those films. It's also fun because obviously we see Selena Kyle drive it as well,
Hmm.
and it does some
Oh
cool
yeah,
stuff.
we all
Like when it runs up
like
that
those
wall and it
shots.
like switches around.
Yeah.
That's oh god, that's so good.
People
And
always share these like shots, as like really sexy shots of her on the bike, and it's just a toy. It's
oh
a
yeah,
really detailed toy, and everybody's like,
yeah.
this is a whatever. But I mean, it's from the movie. And Alan, you'll appreciate this one perhaps. This one
Oh
I hesitated to buy it, but this is a Batmobile from Arkham Knight, the video
yep,
game, which
yep.
I didn't play. But I
Chris has
know that
played
one had
that.
a lot of driving stuff. Okay. Okay. So this is in blue for that. I think that's right. Yeah. So anyways, I'll show more Batmobiles on my desk sometime. We got to
Sure,
get into Batman Forever,
we do, we do.
which has a great Batmobile in it. And I unashamedly love this movie. I've been a fan since day one. I
Yep.
will defend it to my death.
Yep.
When was the last time you watched this movie beginning to end?
I mean, actually not that long ago. I mean, maybe like a couple years, but for when I'm thinking about like
Okay.
rewatching movies, you know, like I have a lot of gaps between movies that aren't like regular rotation, like Lord of the Rings type of things, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, so maybe a couple years, but not much more than that, probably because I love this movie also.
Okay. I'm trying to, I'm going back in anything I rewatch thinking, what how do I view this differently now? Is there
Hmm.
something, do I want to know if I still love it or if it's nostalgia? I want to
Sure.
know how things hold up that way. So I was definitely more critical in this viewing. Um, and just having seen it so many times, but having been a long time since I've watched it now all the way through, it feels like a long time anyways. Um, it's yeah, it was good to get back into it, but like there's things that bother me. I'm gonna nitpick. I'm gonna do some of the things that bother me here that I wrote down.
All right.
At the beginning, he says, "Oh no, it's boiling acid," to tell the audience it's boiling acid. But like, how do you know? Like security guy, you just aware off scent immediately that it's boiling acid? We could wait
I
till your
mean,
glasses drop and you get the little sizzle, right? And have
yeah,
something like that.
that is like a halfway. That you know, what else would it be that's coming hissing,
Could
steaming
just
out of?
drowned. It could be just
But
hot
so
water.
it's boiling something at least. So he's like 50. He's got like 50% off the bat correctly identified. Maybe sure, like you don't 100% know it's acid, but maybe this guy's encountered Two-Face before. Maybe he was on security duty when
Mhm.
Harvey got hit in the face with his acid. So he was just like, I
Yeah.
know Two-Face does this, the son of a bitch.
That's too many loops, too many hoops.
It is. It is. It is a little hoopy. I get it. But yeah.
And then something that
That
always bothered me. Oh,
Oh, I was gonna say that doesn't bother me as much as like the fact that when they go through all of this, being lifted off in this bank vault, and then
mhm.
Batman gets them out and sends somehow the security guard back into the building, and it swings on his grappling hook and fits right back into the hole perfectly that it came out of. I'm just like, no, no. That to me is more like improbable. I feel like it would either A, not like the grappling hook could not hold the weight of that bad boy, or B, it would smash a new hole in that building and not just like slot in perfectly.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's the director's cut. It just smashes it in the side of the building, and they open it up as just security guard goo inside. Yeah,
He
that's
got pancaked on a window as they tried to send him back in.
mhm, not good. Not good. Yeah, I agree. And that's like the opening in the movie, and it really is setting the stage. Like this movie is still dark. If you still want a kids movie, there's still like a lot of darkness here, but it immediately sets up that like the guys are getting sort of electrocuted and it's like this
Yeah.
noise, and then this starts done to the vault. Yeah, it's like, okay, we are watching something a little different here. But then maybe not, because in Batman Returns you had the penguin. He made all the penguins, he fitted them with like visors, helmets, and rockets, and he could control them. That's
Yep.
pretty ridiculous too. So, uh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong with that. Um, One of the things that I had issue with, oh yeah, the ink blot saying, it's a Rorschach.
Bat.
It looks
It's a
like a
bat.
bat. Come on,
I remember I remember thinking that like the first time I saw this movie. I was like, what else do you see in this? I would love to know.
Yeah. A moth,
Right. A
yeah.
butterfly.
Mhm. Mhm. Let's see. This I've always thought too, I guess, but like they try to explain why Robin would take the name Robin.
Oh, yeah.
It's not very, really good.
It's not
Like
good.
I saved him and I said I flew in like a robin. And I'm just thinking, if someone told me that, it's like, is that a compliment or what? Because
Well,
that's like the least majestic bird you could choose to swoop in and save you. Are you kidding me?
I mean, it's not ish, I mean, they are lovely and graceful and like all birds, but it's just not like a strong bird, you
Yeah.
know? And it's also just like why did you fly in like a robin? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Versus
The,
a
like
sparrow.
right, you still haven't explained like why your dad said this and like
Yeah.
why this is your nickname.
Like you could have just been called Eagle because if you
You could have been
swooped in
called
like an
bird.
eagle,
I
yeah,
swooped in like a
yeah, just
bird.
like not a specific bird, just bird, just
You
bird,
know?
and it's not even bird boy, the bird
Right.
wonder boy. It's just bird, the wonder
Bird.
boy.
Oh god, I know I have small children when all I can think of when I hear the word bird is Bambi learning the word bird. Bird! Bird, 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 bird.
Wow, you've already like scarred your children with Bambi.
Oh god, Everett loves it. I don't
Okay.
know, man. I keep trying to tell her like this is a sad part and she gets sad and she's like, "Where did the mommy go?" Man. It's rough. Anyway,
Hmm.
yes,
Hmm.
the Robin name does not make sense. It's a stretch, and I think the audience can feel it's a stretch.
Yeah. There's this stuff like there's little things, I always thought it sounded like they're saying intruder poet. It's intruder alert, but it does not sound like intruder
Mm.
alert.
Oh, I
Intruder poet,
disagree.
intruder poet, intruder poet.
I heard intruder alert, intruder alert. I heard
Ah,
that.
my sister and I have always like, we're so confused hearing that back in the
Okay,
day. And
I will tell you a story because I think this fits with another. I think because I read through some of your comments and I think we both noticed this. But speaking of things that I could never figure out what they were saying in this movie, the lair scene, like Two Face's lair, where he's got, his dark side and his light side, and they're like manifested by his like two lady friends.
Mhm.
Um, I always love that scene. It's so
Yes,
like weird and wonderful and wacky and just like
yes,
uh,
such a good set.
encapsulates. Yes, it's such a good set, and it's such like a weird like I don't know how he lives like this, but they somehow all make it work.
Hmm.
But when the ladies are describing what they made him for dinner, and Drew Barrymore's like, oh, sparkling champagne and like smoked salmon, and all
Yep,
these delicate little lovely things, and
there you
then
going.
Debbie Mazar is like, I got you, charred heart of black boar. And then she says raw something meat. And it
Donkey
literally took
meat?
me, it's donkey meat. But like growing up, I was like, what is she? It sounds like ducky meat. It
Yeah,
sounds like
okay.
punky meat. Like I could not put the words together. I had no idea what she was saying. And I just happened to be watching this with closed captioning. And I read that and I was like, this is like a multi-year, decades-long mystery that just got accidentally solved because I never
Mhm.
bothered to turn on closed captioning before.
I did that for Intruder Poet. I did
Oh,
go
that's
back and turn
funny.
it on. I should
That's
have done
funny.
that moment too, because yeah, I was wondering that too. I was like, what's the
Right?
rest of that exactly? I heard donkey meats, but I'm like, it's
Yes.
like you're dunking it in something, It's
But
like,
right, but I was like trying to figure out like what it could be. And as a kid, I
yeah.
was like, ducky, but that doesn't make any sense. Like, so yeah, no, it's donkey meat. Raw
Wow.
donkey meat.
Okay. All right. I don't
So
know that you
yeah,
should eat donkey raw. I don't
I
know.
don't think you should eat donkey at all, but not raw. But that's what it is. And then also, I think we both had noted it's weird when the Riddler bursts in and, and like is pitching why he should team up with Two-Face, why they should become a duo. And he's like, let me demonstrate my box. And he already has them there somehow.
That's what she said.
Like he just
Oh
picks
boy.
up his boxes and
Yes.
they're just like ready to go. And
I
also, it bothered me that they're like nice and sleek when like
mm,
before it was like that shoulder contraption with all the, crazy
sure.
gears and stuff. It's like, how did you already
He's
have
been
enough
working
money
on it.
to make this and make your Riddler suit?
He built
But now
up
you're coming to Two-Face for
designed the
capital.
schematics, and he talked to a
He had
manufacturer
just
in
enough.
China, and they started putting it together.
Yeah.
They're
They
experts
had
at
just
the glass.
they had just enough for the 2 prototypes, and then he needs the
Hmm.
full production capital with Two-Face. But yeah, it bothered me because I was like, how did you do this? Where did you
Well,
get
I
the
mean,
money for this?
remarkably fast. And then he's in the middle of
Super
the bay,
fast.
and he's got like a tower, you
I
know,
know.
rotating tower. We can't get
All happens
potholes filled in somewhere, and he's
right.
like within a week.
Has some
Holy buckets.
battleship, bombs in the bay and
Hmm.
Fortress Island made of metal and yeah, it's
Yep.
crazy. It's honestly crazy the stuff they expect us to believe that happened in this very short amount of time.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So that's the kind of things like if I want it to bother me, but the movie is just so fun, and there's
Yeah,
visually
the
so
movie
much
overall
of it.
is yeah. The movie
Mhm.
overall is so good that these things don't bother me, but they definitely like hit you in the moment where you're like, no.
Yeah.
Like that wouldn't
Yep.
work out.
Hmm.
But
Um. Okay. Big things. What other big things we got to talk about here? I mean, I really could go on with a lot of different stuff. We talked about Dr. Chase Meridian a little bit
yeah, I was gonna
earlier.
say I think we have to talk love interests and villains, right?
Yeah.
Plus, I think we have to talk about like the Batman lore here in
Okay.
the sense of like getting a sidekick, fighting these particular villains, his love interest. And I think one of the biggest parts of the movie is the ending, to be honest. Not like the action sequence, but like the philosophy of the acceptance of Bruce Wayne and Batman, like the dual self. That's pretty big because
It
so
is
much of
big.
Batman is wrestling with, who am I or who am I more? You know what I mean? Who do I
Yes.
choose to be? And it's always conflict. And then by the end of this movie, like there's an embrace of both selves. Like that's really huge for Batman.
And this is why, again, even Batman and Robin, even that of these 4 movies, this continuity, this is the Batman I prefer because he is. I've said this before, but he like in each one he has a love interest. He goes on dates. He wants like other things in his life. In the first one, he's holding like a charity event at his place. In the second one, he goes to the ball, to meet Selena,
Right.
and he's like doing stuff. He seems like a functioning person, and he's not doing this. It doesn't feel like it's an act all the time. That's what I really
Sure.
didn't like about the Dark Knight trilogy. It's like I have to put on an act. I don't like to be this billionaire
Sure.
playboy. I have
Sure.
like the obsessive nature with I am Batman, and all this other stuff is just a means to an end.
Sure.
And so yeah, that one, and it continues on with Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I like that. He has his problems. He's scarred. He has issues. It's not and he visits the grave site. He's having repressed memories come back in this one that are good, and all that sort of thing. But right, you're right. At the end, he is like, I'm not I'm not Batman because I have to be, but because I choose to be. They do that
Right.
in the Mask of the Phantasm kind of thing too, and
Mhm.
it's good or perfect. Like it. Is that the Batman you like, or you want the I'm like I will not
Yeah.
rest. I am this Bruce Wayne is in the way.
Yeah, I mean, I I certainly like, I think, some of the Bale stuff because it's sort of ridiculous. He does seem to have some fun with it in like the first one where like the two ladies he's on a
Yeah.
date with are just like splashing in the fountain. He's like, I'm just gonna buy this hotel, and he like jumps in the fountain. And even though it's like supposed to be an act, and he like tells Rachel like, this isn't who I am, I'm not just this like shallow. It I don't feel like it's a total repudiation of himself. He's just like, this isn't like all of me. Like I am more, so I don't feel like he's trying to be like,
Sure.
but it does grow into that, I think, in the second and third, um or like later in the second, because again in the second when he like takes off with the cast of like the Russian ballet and he's just like out on
Yeah.
his yacht and Rachel's like, Bruce, like it's still
Yeah.
sort of like lighthearted, but it does like devolve into this like tortured like, society
Hmm.
matrons are doing this and it's terrible. um so yeah, so I do like this Bruce where it's like, you know he obviously is like a mainstream of like the culture and the society of Gotham, because Gossip Gertie is always like, who are you taking? Where are you going? Like, what you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
So it is fun to play with that duality and have him be
Mhm.
like wanting to be a part of society, even though he sort of is like pretending to be off put by the intrusion into his privacy. But I think he secretly
Mhm.
likes it.
Yeah, maybe. He's involved. I always love that he's involved in his company. He's
Yes.
going he's going into Wayne Tech and to look over projects and stuff like that. Always like that. And yeah, when it comes to like choice in women, absolutely huge upgrade over the women we have in the Dark Knight trilogy. Dr. Chase Meridian, she's like, she's forward, she's gorgeous, she's smart, she's playful, she's fun. You want to be around her. The only
Yeah.
thing is
Their
that she is
banter is
quite the
hot.
heartbreaker. Yeah, right. It's you.
It's good
I'll
banter.
bring the wine. You bring your scarred psyche as she removes clothes.
Yes.
uh,
I like
yep.
the I'm flattered it's not every girl who makes a superheroes night table, as he tell her he reads her
Hmm.
work. Like, that's a good
Yep.
comeback.
Hmm. Yep. Uh, it's all
This
good. The,
movie, I
the
think
bat
I think
signal's not a beeper.
yeah. Chicks dig the car. It's the car, right? Chicks dig the car. Um yeah, I love this movie. It has really good one-liners without, for me, being too cringy. I think the worst one is right at the beginning and they like get it out of their system when Alfred is like, "Can I persuade you to take some food, sir?" or like a sandwich, and he's like, "I'll get drive-through." Like, that's terrible. Oh god, it's such like a bad pun to open a movie. But
he,
all my favorite like stuff after that, like the memorable one-liners, are not cringe like that.
yeah. Hmm. Yep. I agree. It's lots of the movie just it oozes lots of fun, and
It
that
does.
translates to the villains as well. So like, what's your take on the villains?
Ugh, I love them. I love them. Jim Carrey as the Riddler. He has some really fantastic moments in this movie where he is obviously like being Jim Carrey, but it works in the context of the Riddler. You know what I mean? Like I can see him as both. Like he's not just Jim Carrey playing a role,
Yeah.
but he's like really embodying a switch of the Riddler. Whereas like I hate to dunk on Batman and Robin, but I really do have a hard time not just seeing like George Clooney.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like, even though he's
Yeah.
playing like a character, he's being George Clooney in this role. Whereas like I can see Jim Carrey in this role, but he's having so much fun with it and he's so into it that he still makes me feel like I believe you're playing a character.
Yeah.
Like his destruction of the Batcave, as an audience member, like obviously I'm like objectively horrified because oh no, like he's destroying all
Right.
of our heroes' stuff, but he is having an amazing time. And he does like just like some of the most random improv stuff that I'm swept along in his like merriment and his like
Mhm.
little kid at Christmas joy about getting to best his nemesis.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's a
It,
lot of fun.
and I like the path they take for it, because the Riddler, from my experience in comics, can be a little undefined. He's a little
Sure.
insecure, a little I don't know. I feel like he's changed a lot over the years in different iterations because people don't know exactly how to define him. They don't want him to
Sure.
be the Joker. How
Yep.
do we have him exactly? And so it's taken lots of versions. I feel like this one feels like it's going from the television show, the live action television show,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. And he does it so well. And I like the idea of he's obsessed with Bruce Wayne. Like, that's a
Yes.
different thing. He's like, that's his idol. And then he's rejected. And so I love the moments like when he's found success now. And so, but he has the same glasses as Bruce Wayne, and he like mimics like
He
taking them
makes the
off.
mole. He like makes Bruce
Uh,
Wayne's mole. Like,
is that what it is? He doubles
yeah.
hit? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Took me like a couple viewings to realize that, I think, like as a
Okay.
kid. But yeah. No, it's so obvious, and it just, as an audience member, you're just boggled that nobody's like, can you just
Reacting
not be Bruce Wayne? It's super creepy. Like everything about him,
How
like,
harsh is Drew Barrymore?
oh, why don't you look so good in that suit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
so good. He's got the
Oh,
same hair, the same glasses, the same suit, like, and
yep.
he still can't measure up, you know?
No,
Like even
no.
even in the, in that scene where they're kind of like cross introducing the couples where
Yeah.
Edward Nygma's with like the light side. I don't remember that she has a name, or at least it's
I'm
not
sure it's
said in the
something, but
movie.
yeah. So
Right.
that's it.
Um but yeah, with Two-Face's light side gal, and Bruce and Chase.
Mm,
Like
sugar, Alan says.
sugar. Oh, sugar and spice, I bet. I bet it's sugar and spice.
Gotta be.
Um, right? Like what else could it be? But yeah, so even in like that cross introduction and he's like, trying to schmooze Chase, like he still doesn't, yeah, Debbie Mazar with spice. Ah, I got it. Um, he's still not as smooth or as gentlemanly, and he doesn't like charm Dr. Meridian Chase the way that like Bruce just like effortlessly charms Sugar.
Right.
So you can just even
Yep.
see like across that, it's just like you're not measuring up, pal.
Well, he has to try so hard, like
Yes. Everything is
his
so like,
insecurity. Yeah.
yes, it's such an effort. And it really comes through wonderfully as the Riddler in his like mania. But
Mhm.
yes, as like Edward, it's like, oh God. Oh my God, dude. Like,
Yep.
could you try harder to be this person?
Yeah. I think I think Two-Face is the one that people have more problems with. And I kind of understand that. But it's like,
Sure.
I think Tommy Lee Jones is really a perfect cast for Two-Face. I think it's a great casting pick. But they're like, well, how do we how do we have a Riddler and Two-Face work together? How they share the same world here, and so they have to lighten Two-Face. But I like the take because
Mhm.
he's still more serious. He's still meaner and some of that, but he is, I don't know, he fits in as a psycho with Riddler, and it's sad to hear that those two hated each other on set.
Yeah.
Um, but it doesn't show. It doesn't show. They
No.
did such a good
No.
job.
I could
Um,
never have told you that.
no, no idea. So they really like were professional and just did it. And they say you can't sell the chemistry if you don't have the chemistry between whatever. I don't know. It's there. I just like it works. So
Right? Like one of my favorite scenes, and it like has no purpose and no meaning in the plot, is when they like rob the casino and Riddler's like, teach me how to punch a guy.
yeah, real simple, my
I mean,
boy. Ball up the fist, reach back, exert yourself.
right? Like it's so great. And then like Jim Carrey fails and he's like, oh, and like
Ouch.
Two-Face is like, I'll get him.
Yeah.
Or when they're like in the getaway car and they're like counting the money and he's like, I lost count, and they're both just like, ah, ha, ha, ha. Like
Yeah.
I could not have told you that they hated each other because they seemed to be filled with like, maniacal glee and
Yeah.
shared joy in that scene. So I couldn't have told you that the actors hated each other.
Right.
I do think it is hard that Two-Face is so prominent in the beginning, and then when Riddler comes in, he does seem to like sort of take like this shadowy back seat,
Sure.
and he doesn't do much. And so I think they kind of like lost a little bit of balance, maybe kind of 2/3 ish throughout the movie. But then, Two-Face is the final villain, and I think his final confrontation with Batman and Robin is really good.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Riddler is always, that's one of his things to me. A hallmark is he's the mastermind.
Right.
Um, so that kind of makes sense. He's the one pulling the strings, convincing him we should do this and go this route and whatever. But yeah, I do agree. The final confrontation, it brings like up something that I thought could have been in the film was, I think Harvey Dent would have taken the news that Bruce Wayne is Batman is kind of a big deal because, in Edward Nygma's mind, he has a relationship with Bruce Wayne, but Harvey Dent actually did. And so at the end, we have this little call out of like sober, good side Two-Face. Thank you, Bruce. You always were a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sad for what then happens, but there
Right.
could have been something more with that early on.
Yeah, it definitely could have been more shocking to Two-Face
Yeah.
that Bruce Wayne was Batman. Because, like you said, like Edward Nygma, this is all his relationship with Bruce Wayne is like mostly invented in his brain, sans these like few later interactions. But again, they're not like an intimate friendship, and they're not like
No. Not
they're not buds. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Harvey Dent did actually have a relationship with Bruce Wayne and clearly had a relationship with Batman. Because Batman is the one who was in the courtroom and tried to save him. So I think this would be a bigger shock for him than it really was shown in the movie, where he just sort of like laughs along with Edward Nygma, or like, oh, he has bats on the brain. Bah, it means it's Bruce Wayne. And they just sort of like take it. Whereas like for Riddler, this is the moment of his triumph. And so I get where he's like, I already knew this. I'm just revealing it to Harvey. I'm laughing and, rolling along and thinking about all the things I can do with this. But yeah, it is a little weird that Two-Face is just sort of like, cool, it is Bruce Wayne. I love it.
Mm-hmm. They could have had a serious, like, sort of, I don't know, pan in, shocked silence moment for him. Like, use it for that. Like, it would, because that moment at the end when we see Harvey Dent in the flashback or in the tape thing looking normal, stoic, all this sort of thing, human person. And then the sober moment at the end, those really stand out because of how
Yes.
zany he is the rest of the time. So a
Yes.
moment like a heartfelt, like, I can't believe this shocked sort of thing would have really stood out in the middle there on that reveal, and contrasted so well with the Riddler's exuberance and like,
Yes.
why aren't you excited? You know, I can't. You know, that would have. I don't know.
Right.
That's
Think of all the things we can do, and he's just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And it would be interesting if he tonally shifted then. If he was like if he became throughout the rest of the movie less willing to play Riddler's games, less
Right.
amenable to them, and like and more serious. I don't know that. I don't know. Something big needed to
Yeah.
happen there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it would have been hard to carry that throughout this type of movie because it is so fun.
Mhm.
You know, there is such like a joy in all of this, even in the horrible moments. There is like just like a joy of this film that everybody just feels like super into what they're doing. So yeah, it would have been hard, but it would have been really interesting to see that
Yep.
as a character.
I want to know. See, what we find out is that Two-Face actually designed um, a giant weakness in Edward Nygma's lair, like the Death Star.
His Death
And
Star.
that's why Batman
I read
could just
that
throw
comment and I
one
was like,
batarang.
yes. I read that comment. I was like, oh my God, spot on. I did not think of that, but yes, that is what it is. Because it just
It's like this is
disintegrates. Like the floor goes, the lights go, like, you know, the brain energy just gets sucked out of him.
major
Crazy.
design flaw. Like, if you're going to
Super big
invite,
design flaw.
you know, the Dark Knight into your lair, you better put a cage around that or something. I don't know.
Right.
Something.
Oh man.
So,
Yeah.
let's see. What else? So we talked about a little bit about Chase. We talked a little bit about Robin. Okay.
Robin.
We got to talk about other than his name.
O'Donnell.
I think that
because he carries on into, you know, the next movie without Val Kilmer. So
what do you think of Robin and O'Donnell's performance here?
it's up and down. I think there are some really good moments, and then there are some moments where I was just like, you know, I wasn't quite as into him, or I got frustrated with him, or sometimes he felt age appropriate, and sometimes I was like really seeing like the you feel older than Dick Grayson should be.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was a little up and down.
I think they nailed it because
Okay.
I think it was really. I'm trying to think about them doing this sort of bringing Robin into future movies. James Gunn supposedly is doing Brave and the Bold or something like that, and it's
Don't talk to me about that.
But I'm just thinking, like, how does that work and how does it look bringing in Robin? And I think that's it's really difficult. It's something that works fine for a young reader in a comic book, someone that a kid can really latch onto, empathize with, sees themselves as, whatever. But you put that in the live action, and I don't know. I think the smart thing normally would be to go straight to Nightwing. Say they had some sort of past, but now he's Nightwing, he's older and whatever. Chris O'Donnell is just manages to he's young, so he's newly orphaned, but he looks older, so we know he's younger than he appears, but I just think that kind of works. It's enough of like a teenager with a father sort of fight relationship sort of thing. You don't see eye to eye, I don't know. I
Yeah.
just think it's underestimated. I think it's a tricky thing to do. I think if other people do this in movies, they might find out that it is a tricky thing to do. Um, and I think
I
they just kind
yeah.
of nailed it here.
I agree with you. I'm not looking for Robin to be like 14 years old. Or like be too young, but the age inconsistently is something that kind of bothered me, where sometimes Chris O'Donnell looks like, yeah, he could be 22, and sometimes he looks like he could be 28.
Mhm.
And in the movie they make references to his age, like, what's a good superhero sidekick name? And he's like, Dick Grayson, college student. So I'm like, oh, is he like about to go into college? Like, is he 18? Or then like Commissioner Gordon basically is like, he's an orphan. It's good of you to take him in. And he's
Right.
like, oh yeah, it saved me some visits with social services. So I'm like, is he supposed to be a minor? Because no
Right.
way. Like,
Right.
so that sort of like, I- you know, I wish they would have settled in on something that could have explained him as like college age, because I would have bought that rather than like this sort of weird, like he's an orphan that needs adopting by adults,
Right.
instead of just being like he's a sad orphan and like maybe I'm giving him a place to stay for a night or two.
Sure.
So like that's
Um,
that's my only part of like confusion or kind of like, I don't know, dissonance.
yeah. Yeah. It definitely starts to break down if you think about it. I just think like, I don't know, just f- visually what they did and his sort of
Oh, Chris O'Donnell was
energy and
24. Okay.
yeah, so I was saying Chris was 24 when filmed. And I also want to say thank you to Collecting the Cool.
Oh,
Said
hello,
they
collecting the
shared
cool.
out our show link and subbed.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
thanks.
So
Yeah, so
much appreciated.
I feel like Chris O'Donnell had this like boyish energy when like he steals the Batmobile. I love
Yeah.
that whole scene for him when he's just
It,
like joyriding around. And I don't
yep.
know why. I've always loved when he's like, come take a ride in my love machine, baby. So stupid.
Yeah.
But it's so good. Or when, he's
Yep.
like trying to pick up some ladies and they're like, look at this bad boy. So all of that like is
Yep.
super fun for me. But yeah, there were some other moments where I was like, I'm just not buying like how young you are. So I had a little trouble marrying the two.
I agree. That whole scene, it made an impression on me as a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it just was it was cool. Again, we got to talk about how awesome Gotham is in these
Mhm.
colors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Finished
I
up.
was just going to say, I had
Um,
a note
yeah.
about Gotham because I feel like it is two different Gothams. Like there's a day
Okay.
Gotham that we pan around when Bruce
Mm,
is going to visit Wayne Enterprises, and it's like dusky pinks and browns and like these earthy tones, but still like crazy architecture. And then at night it's like stark blacks and neons and cyberpunky,
mhm.
like
Yeah.
awesome. Like it's just so clear that like the vibrancy of the city is the nighttime. Like everybody
Right.
lives for the night. That's when stuff
Yeah.
comes alive. Um
That's a cool way to look at it. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know why. It was just, I think the immediacy of that, like those two scenes that were just sort of like, man, Gotham is a character city, and it is different at the
Mhm.
day and it is different at night. And I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I love that's a Joel Schumacher edition there, and I like it. Um,
Mhm. Agreed.
yeah, and I made note. I definitely had a crush on that girl that he saved at the time. Uh,
I I definitely thought for like a hot second when I was a kid, I thought it was Alicia Silverstone. And I
oh
think
yeah,
I
I
sort
know,
of
right?
like, and then I sort of like thought there was like continuity between that and Batman and Robin as a kid. And
Mm,
then like as an adult was like, no, that's two different people.
right.
But that
Yep.
again was really fun when he was just like, oh, I get to kiss the girl. I love being a superhero. It's such a like kid thing to do, you
Yep.
know?
Yep. Here.
Oh.
I'll show you on screen.
Ah, yeah. Cute.
Trading card.
Adorbs. Do you have other
Said,
trading cards from
oh yeah.
Batman Forever?
It says Dick may not be Batman, but he fights well enough to dispatch the gang and save the girl.
Mhm.
He hardly has time to steal a kiss, however, when more toughs arrive. Dick is outnumbered, and only Batman's sudden appearance saves him.
Yeah.
I
It's
absolutely
such a
love the cards.
it's such a good scene because it goes from this like joyful highs of, like I love being a superhero. I get to joyride in a car and beat up thugs and kiss a girl. Nice. Harvey Dent.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes immediately into, Batman saved me and also I realize who you are and I hate you.
Yep.
And he just like, takes out his anger on Batman and it's so like, oh God. And that is a total like young, like adolescent, wild emotional mood swings, like, one extreme to the other.
I should remember from my card, Sugar and Spice.
Sugar and Spice. I love it. Their costuming was just excellent. This whole movie costuming. I love the Riddler's increasingly ridiculous. I love his ending, like rhinestoned, crazy, flock of seagulls, Riddler, like sparkle glasses, mask thing. Oh, I love it. Love it.
Yeah, it's
so good.
This one, right? It got
Yes. Oh, it's so good. It's so ridiculous, but he like saves it from being too ridiculous. It's yeah.
It's good. And look at this babe. Look at this.
Dr. Chase Meridian. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, someday I'll do a stream, just go through my card collection and enjoy that. But okay.
The other thing I do want to say in the positive about Chris O'Donnell's performance, I thought he reacted really well when Two-Face dies. Like,
sure,
that was a moment where Batman kills, but he didn't technically kill. You know what I mean?
Basically,
like, he didn't
the intent was there.
But like, well, I mean, like technically, he could be like, I was just looking for a distraction.
Yeah.
You can skate on a technicality there, but like we know.
Yeah.
But I did think like Chris O'Donnell like facially really captured the like, oh my God, I wasn't ready for like Two-Face to die and I'm so satisfied, but whoa. And like it was just it was a lot playing out on his face. And I thought he captured that moment really well. Almost as if like Chris O'Donnell, the actor, hadn't realized that like Two-Face was going to get killed. And it was like a really genuine shock. So
yeah,
I just really believed in his character's emotions at that point. So I thought that was a really great.
Yes, 100%. Glad you said that because it's like it's always stood out to me. That moment. It's like he all of a sudden has to process all this.
Yeah.
Like the moment he's been waiting for. Here it is. He'd like been saved from doing it. He decided to not kill him. And then here it is now. He's dying. He gets to save his soul because he didn't do it. But like, I don't know. I don't know what the emotions would be exactly. But you feel like an intensity to him, a shock. His nostrils are really flaring and stuff like that. Yeah. After just being embarrassed about having his deepest, darkest desires revealed.
Bare naked with a girl.
Oh.
Oh my God. Yeah, they do the theatrics so well in this stuff, and I love it. I do love this like weird like mind reading thing that Enigma has going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great way to kind of sell the exposure of secrets in Gotham. Although as a kid, I always worried about the party where he reveals his fully interactive holographic fantasies. I was like, I would be terrified to go in there. I don't know. Like, what would I dream?
Yeah.
What would I think of? Maybe it would be
Yeah.
totally normal. Like, my fantasy is to drive a fast car or,
Yeah.
fly, have the
You're
ability
right.
to fly, or be dripping in diamonds like that one lady. But like the guy who goes in there and he's like, has the girls start coming up and putting this,
Yeah.
I was like, oh God.
Where's this gonna go?
I was worried. Even as a kid, I was like, that seems like a real, like, risky move, people.
You're sitting in the theater with your like high school dates, and you're like, oh my God, I wouldn't be in there right now. Who knows what
Who knows what I'd think of?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Did you
I did.
see? Okay.
Oh no, I was gonna say I did. I remember thinking as a kid, like, did they pre-screen these people to make sure that their fantasies?
Yeah.
God, I was such a boring kid. I was like, do they make sure that their fantasies are okay for this party? And it's not gonna, go X-rated.
How would you control that? I don't know.
Ugh, I don't know.
Hmm. Oh yeah, there it is. Your comment here. What if someone had an X-rated fantasy in front of everyone, and you're like
Right?
locked in?
Right?
You got to trust them to shut it down.
Exactly. How awkward. I would not walk in there.
Mm. You could have all kinds of messed up stuff, like non-human possible things as well.
Right?
Like,
Well, and it's like, how
just be
does the
terrifying.
machine know? Does it just like pick the first thing that comes to your head, or is it
Right.
like, I read that this is a recurring thing, or like, how does that
Yeah.
happen? So, or like, does it like be like, quick, think of a fantasy, and you're like, great, I know I'm at a party, so I gotta think of something really fun but like tame.
No, because then Bruce wouldn't go in there and then immediately
Think
like
about
be
bats,
locked
right?
in, and
Yeah,
yeah. Hmm.
yeah. So I don't know,
Yeah.
but like I said, too risky, not for me.
Hmm. Did you read my comment, or did you also just write butt shot single exclamation point? Oh, that's the same as me. You wrote butt shot exclamation point. I also
I
wrote
did,
butt shot
because there were so many butt shots. There were like Robin has a butt shot when he saves Bruce out of like the
Hmm.
avalanche of gravel or
Yeah.
whatever that is. There's
Yeah.
like a real tight butt shot on him, and then as Bruce is putting on his new suit, there's like almost like a hip thrust butt shot where he's like, check it out.
Yeah.
And then
Woof. Yeah. It turns fast.
Chase falls like from the tubes, like her dress lifts up and it's like total butts. So like, I'm just saying there's a lot of like,
Hmm.
this movie is like
Yeah.
a very sexual movie and also like a very big romantic type of movie. It's a lot of like
Yeah.
romantic sexual drama that
Yeah.
happens amidst a Batman movie.
Right. Yeah. Makes it fun,
Yeah.
The
So yeah, no, I did not see your comment. The only or I mean I saw it after I wrote mine, which is why I responded to your Debbie Mazar comment.
Oh yeah. Hmm. Yep.
Because I remember her from
Um.
Entourage. That was like my
Oh, okay.
other role
I
I
feel like I
remember
wouldn't
her a bunch
recognize her,
from.
and you know, with more clothes and less makeup.
She's got very distinct facial features.
Okay.
Like her nose and like her ice blue eyes. They're very, I felt
Okay.
like, distinct. Do you see who else I recognized? One of the
No.
reporters on TV was Nan Flanagan from True Blood.
Oh, who's
The AVL the blonde vampire lady who's, always telling everybody like, she's like the PR person for the vampire campaign or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Oh, I see you're coming. Yeah, Nan Flanagan, random. Yeah, I don't really remember her.
Yep.
Puzzle solving Bruce is a hot Bruce.
He is a hot Bruce, okay? With the glasses and his like dark t-shirts and his like, I'm deep in thought. But
Yeah.
I'm also like kind of flexing my biceps. Telling you.
Best
I
looking
dig it.
Bruce Wayne. Easy. Hands
I agree.
down.
I agree.
Hands
I agree.
down. Okay, well, I don't know. Anything else? Much to say? It's a movie. This is a movie, like I never want to do a watch along thing. Some people do this watch along and you start the movie at the same time, then you can comment and call and chat and stuff. I never really want to do that. I would do that with this movie. I feel like
totally would.
I've seen
Anytime
it
you want.
a million times, and just fun. Be interested to see what people say. Yeah. Okay.
And the last thing I'll say is this Alfred just like lives on in my heart. This is Alfred.
Sure. Yep.
This is my Alfred right here.
I don't know how much of it's like because it's our formative years, and how much of it is because it's good. But there are just elements.
Good.
Like, it's this Alfred. It's this Gotham City.
He's so. But like for me, it's like he's so British upper crusty, and being like, oh, if I get fired, maybe Buckingham Palace will have me back. Like, I love it. But also, like, he's so sassy.
Yeah.
Like, when, Robin's asking, like, hey, what's behind the door? And he's like, Master Wayne's dead wives. Like, that is hilarious.
Yes.
He's so, like, deadpan about it. Or when he's like, talking to Bruce and they're solving the riddles, he's like, you really are quite brilliant despite what people say. Damn! It's cold, but like I love him so much because he obviously cares, but also that's a dagger, that's a dagger from Alfred. So he just like masters the like very, British upper crusty, but also loving heart, but also got the one-liners to match Bruce and all of that. So yeah.
Yep.
This is my favorite.
It's their relationship is, again, I understand you're going to have different versions of this. Then you change it up. But this is the relationship I want to see between Bruce and Alfred, really. It's like, it's not antagonistic. There's this whole stuff in the Dark Knight trilogy. Like, if you do this, I'm leaving, I'm gone. We just don't go there to that sort of thing. Like, Alfred is always there for him. And it's like there's wisdom to be learned from Alfred. But they're like, it's not a father-son thing. It's it's its own relationship. And there's a respect there. I don't know. It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch their playfulness together, their history together play out.
Right. But like the seriousness too, when he's like talking to Bruce, realizing that like, hey, you're going to need to be for, Robin, Dick Grayson, what I am kind of to you. And he's, saying like young men with a mind for revenge need little encouragement. They need guidance.
Yeah.
And that's just like,
that's
bam, life, right? Like life lesson. Like, so he's totally reframing the issue for Bruce. And it's such like a big flip in his brain that you can tell. And he just like respects that. But then, then they've got like the playfulness too, So.
And I love their joint play to get Dick to stay.
Yes.
That's like,
perhaps the dogs are hungry.
Hey, I'll wait up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good,
I think my favorite honestly is when he beeps in on the watch, which as a kid I thought was like the coolest technology, like a video watch that you could call. and he's trying to get Bruce to realize that, you know, he like Dick Grayson boosted the Batmobile. No,
Yeah.
sir, the other car. And he's like
Yeah.
just telegraphing with his entire face, you idiot. Put the pieces together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. That's, I agree. That another moment that was like, yes, this is so cool.
Yeah.
With the girl, got the cool video watch. That's a dream watch of mine. It doesn't do video, but it is it's like a JLC tank watch that they designed. There's a reverso. They designed it for polo players. And so people say the idea is it kind of showcases the duality of Bruce and Batman, because it's called a reverso because you can flip it over, and then on the backside of the watch, there's hard like steel is there and won't get the face won't get busted playing polo or whatever. So it's hiding the watch face underneath.
Sure. So. Okay, that is like an incredibly nerdy detail that I really love that you know. That's cool. I learned something right now. That's super cool.
So if someday I'm walk into a lot of money, I will try to get one of those watches. So
solid. And then we'll develop the video technology.
Right. Well, I mean, the Apple Watch has got all the things on there basically, other than the video, but I'm
just saying.
Yeah.
Like we can make this dream come true. Just come into a lot of money sometime, John.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Perfect. With that plan in mind, guess we'll call it there. That's been Batman Forever. It's 30 freaking years since this movie came out. Still as fabulous as it was at the time. It's got great music. Didn't even talk about the music.
Yes.
There's great songs in this. I have both the score and the music from
CDs. The soundtrack.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a lot of good. I fell in love with like Seal's one hit song.
Yes. It's so funny that's like the big one from this movie, because it is not like the marriage in my mind of Batman and this like romantic Seal song. Do you know what I mean? Like it is now like married in my mind, but it doesn't logically go together.
Right. There's a song by Brandy that I really love. That's when Dick is saving the girl. Another moment of that's like, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, when he's joyriding.
Yep. So, okay. Well, that's Batman Forever. I hope you enjoy the conversation. Let us know what you think of Batman Forever and what we didn't talk about, but let us know, and then we'll consider it. Where does it stand in the rest of Batman? We're going to talk about that sometime. I kind of just want to talk about Batman and Robin next week. You already watched it. Just like
I could. You know,
like I could too, because I watched it this last holiday season. I don't think I'd rewatch it again because I can't. It's not.
I don't think you need to.
Christmas. Yeah, I've seen it so many times. And I know my thoughts. I wouldn't have all the nitpicks, I suppose, but
sure.
Also, speaking of Batman Forever, look at what else I have on my desk. This is a Val Batman figure from Batman Forever.
Right.
Clearly, he didn't have this suit with like blades and stuff, you know.
Yes.
But,
I remember you talking about that, though, about getting that.
Yeah. So that's like
cool.
This thing like shoots off his back or something. Yeah. This detaches.
Oh, nice. Butt shot.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Yep. My desk is filled with very mature, grown up things.
Love it. Who needs to grow up?
Yeah. Well, if I want to walk into some money someday,
maybe.
But, Okay, well, make sure you like, share, subscribe in all the
Mhm.
places for more of this sort of thing. We're going to have anime episodes with Ohio Anime. We'll have more of this. Maybe we'll talk Batman and Robin. Maybe, I don't know, we got a lot of things to discuss. We'll see where you get in Andor.
Oh, yeah.
And then anime. Want to watch the Look Back movie for
Yes.
something that we can watch anime that's quick. So
Mhm.
if there's other things, and then if we have time, we should totally do a breakdown of the Bond trailer, and we could do like Bond Resident Evil 9 together or something like that. So
I love it.
yeah,
Anytime.
that kind of stuff. So um podcast directories, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you can find us there, and we'll see everybody next time.
Sounds good. Cheers, everybody.